Chairman, congratulations to both of you. Today we consider two exceptional nominees, Joshua Dunlap for the First Circuit and Eric Tung for the Ninth Circuit. Both are accomplished appellate advocates, constitutionalists, and exactly the type of judges President Trump promised to nominate. Judges committed to following the law as written, not as they might want it to be. This matters because for decades, the First and Ninth Circuits have been among the most activist courts in America. Too often wrong on the law, too often hostile to the Constitution, and too often willing to substitute their own left-wing politics for the rule of law. The Ninth Circuit is notorious for its extreme activism and wildly incorrect rulings. It is by far the largest circuit in the country, covering 9 western states, including California, Washington, and Oregon. And still, the circuit overreaches, trying to dictate policy decisions far beyond its bounds. For years, the Supreme Court has had to correct its radical rulings. In Kennedy versus Bremerton School District, the Ninth Circuit upheld the firing of a high school football coach for the, quote, unconstitutional act of praying at the 50-yard line. Not only did the Ninth Circuit trample Coach Kennedy's free speech and free exercise rights, the opinion even criticized Kennedy's faith itself, suggesting that his public prayers defied the Sermon on the Mount. The Supreme Court reversed 6-3, restoring Coach Kennedy's constitutional rights and repudiating the Ninth Circuit for its overt hostility to religion. In California versus Greenwood, the Ninth Circuit invented a Fourth Amendment privacy right in trash. The Supreme Court reversed that decision because garbage at the curb has no privacy protection. In Ashcroft versus Al-Kid, the Ninth Circuit held that a former U.S. Attorney General could personally be sued for detaining a terrorism witness. Again, the Supreme Court reversed 8-0. In Peruta versus San Diego, the Ninth Circuit declared there is no Second Amendment right to carry a concealed firearm, a ruling later gutted by the Supreme Court in Bruin. And just this week, I am leading an amicus in Nome versus Al Otro Lado, a case that epitomizes the Ninth Circuit's lawlessness. The Ninth Circuit held that an alien standing on the Mexican side of a U.S. port of entry has, quote, arrived in the United States and can therefore claim asylum, creating a right that Congress never authorized. If allowed to stand, that decision would abolish border metering and would force CBP to process aliens in foreign countries and invite millions of asylum claims from people who have never set foot on U.S. soil. Our brief urges the Supreme Court to grant cert and to reverse the Ninth Circuit, because immigration policy is for the political branches, not for activist judges. The First Circuit, though smaller, is no less liberal. It covers 4 New England states from Maine to Rhode Island. Every single active judge on the court is a Democratic appointee, 4 appointed by Joe Biden and 1 by Barack Obama. That reality has made the Boston-based First Circuit a magnet for progressive litigants trying to block President Trump's immigration policies. On day 1 of President Trump's return to office, progressive groups filed 3 separate lawsuits in First Circuit district courts challenging his order to end birthright citizenship. They chose this venue deliberately. The First and Ninth Circuits show why judicial appointments matter. When unelected judges rewrite the law, fundamental rights erode, states are trampled, and the Constitution is replaced by politics of the bench. President Trump is rightly restoring balance. With nominees like Joshua Dunlap and Eric Tung, we are ensuring that the Constitution, not politics, rules in our federal court. I have a question for both of you. Can you tell this committee, in your judgment, what is the importance of the First Amendment to the Constitution? Mr. Dunlap.
The First Amendment has rightly been referred to as protecting some of our first freedoms, freedom of religion, freedom of speech among them. As a member of the federal judiciary, should I be confirmed, I would seek to equally apply that provision along with all other provisions to the parties who appear before me.
Mr. Tung?
Senator, the First Amendment is critically important to our Constitution, as the Supreme Court has held time and time again, including in the case you mentioned, Kennedy versus Bremerton.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. This